This is my Games World Mechanics project, Version 83. As you can see on the screen, this is a description briefly talking about the backstory of the game and what is happening in the level. So in the start of the level, the player does fall down and they do need to build their way back up to the ledge, which is by pressing the button as well once they reach it, and then there will also leave a button to activate the piston. Once they activated that, simply rise up the platform to speak to the servant, which will prompt you to place the block onto the platform, and then it will rise the other platforms to grab the key and also drop down so you can use the key to exit the level. Zone 2 consists of jumping across multiple breakable platforms, accessing doors using various switches by using the first person projectile, as well as also clicking on buttons and using platforms to access other areas to exit the zone. The zone that features the key UI as well as the previous one. When entering the third zone, the player will be able to use the crane to smash through the barrier and be able to rise up the ladder to get on top of the ledge to assist the civilian to get across the platform by going across and activating various switches by going across there with various methods, being by jumping across moving platforms, breakable platforms, and as well as shooting targets to activate switches and get across platform. Once they reach across and is in the safe zone, the player will also be able to interact with the officer, which will allow access to open the final door to the fourth zone. The doors are also open for 10 seconds long, so once they shut, they permanently shut from there, and the player must be quick, otherwise it will shut behind them and the civilian will stay locked up and the player will fail, as well as also falling down into the pit and failing from there. In the fourth zone, the player will be prompted to enter a door by a button and will have to shoot a door with a pressure plate for him and the assistant to follow through and place a block down so that way he can access another door to jump around and open another door to access the pressure plate / block that will be used as a battery for the first crane. Once that's done, the crane will pick up the object and smash through the first set of objects, and the player will have to climb up the ladder to jump on another pressure plate, which will rise a bridge. And once that bridge has been risen, they will have to jump across and use the cube as another battery, this time instead raising two smaller platforms to reach back and also access the controls to do the exact same thing as before. And once they've done that, essentially they will have a couple of other blocks to use to access the piston and the door for it by the player standing on the orange one and the other two blocks being placed on the other two white pressure pads. In the final zone, the player must start off by going through a tight corridor with using a small block that will push through and essentially make their way around the maze to push through other smaller blocks to also access various points throughout that area and also get the main block towards one of the doors that can be used as the key to unlock power-ups. This level introduces power-ups as increasing speed and increasing jumping abilities. In the jump power-up, the player will be able to turn around and see that one of the doors has been opened and is now be able to access another area of the zone. Essentially, they will need to access another button to obtain two of the same power-up and reach across the other side by jumping over a breakable platform, which they will need to activate the mainframe by jumping on various pads to activate the piston, which will create a friction between that and the large battery. And this maze will also have an enemy NPC, or what we call the chaser, and the chaser will basically chase them throughout the maze, and by gradually the chaser does also prompt to pick up speed. After so long, the player will either be able to escape from them by obtaining the speed power up and also making a last minute getaway by using the jump ability to get out, or the player will be caught by the chaser and will die. Once the player escapes, one final go with the speed ability as well as the jump ability to reach the final platform, which will prompt him to finish the game.